YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back on Total War Rome 2. Now this is interesting. Because of your excellent contributions to help support my channel on Patreon, I've now gotten spoiled by like a microphone extension arm with a shock mount and a pop filter and all this fancy stuff. Well, I'm actually recording from a hotel right now, so I've got my laptop and I am using the same microphone, though it doesn't have its shock mount or stand with me, obviously, but I did hear a tip from one of my viewers, and he said, hey, you can basically just use an old sock for a pop filter, and it is working surprisingly well. So yes, this is being recorded on my laptop, so slightly lesser graphics than what you would see on my desktop, though I don't think you'll notice a huge difference. And I am pretty pleased with the way it's going, to be honest, and this hotel actually has decent-ish Wi-Fi. It's like 15 megabit. Typically I'm stuck with like 1 megabit if I'm lucky. So yes, that's 1 megabit, not gigabit, 1 megabit. So it's like very crappy connection. Now, of course, when I was a kid, I remember whenever my dad came home with a new computer that had a 56K modem. Now, people back in the day, that was fast. And I was pretty thrilled about that 56K modem. I was able to use it to start playing some online battles against some of my friends for the very first time in a very old game made by Interplay that was called Descent. Very cool game. Obviously very dated at this point, and shows you how dated I am too. When I used to play Descent, I had to put the CD-ROM in, and my computer started to a DOS prompt. Yes, that's right, did not start straight into Windows. This was Air's early childhood gaming. I would have to, type in the D:/, go to the DOS, or the D prompt for the CD drive, and then type in descent.exe, and that's how I would start my game. And then when you wanted to do a connection, I think you had to know like your friend's phone number or something, so that the modems could dial each other up. It was crazy, folks. I'd never seen anything so cool as being able to play an online game with my buddy, even though it was like a direct connection. Never seen anything like it. Anyways, there's just some good sentimental value there. Sentimental Air showing you how old he is, but loving the conveniences of modern day gaming. So this is supposed to be kind of a semi-Raffia themed battle here, obviously not using the exact same troop compositions, but I just like the Battle of Raffia. Figured it would be fun to do a Ptolemaic Egypt versus Seleucids. I'm playing against Baal-Hamon, yes, the great angry god of the ancient world, destroyer of Apache. No, okay, so I'm getting a little bit stupid here. So anyway, no, he's a player in the Zeal clan, Baal-Hamon. So literally, I am playing against Baal-Hamon, though. Just not, not the ancient demigod, or whatever god. Demigod? Did I just say it? I'm not even sure I know what that means, but whatever. Not the ancient god. Anyway, I've got 4 Egyptian pikemen, 3 Nubian bows, 1 Egyptian slinger, 2 Levithuriel spears, 1 on each flank, 2 Galatian royal guard, again 1 on each flank, 2 Galatian swordsmen, once again 1 on each flank, 2 Egyptian cavalry on each flank as well, and then my general is this Ptolemaic cavalry, which I had no idea until this video was a camel cataphract of sorts. Blade Master, you sneaky jerk. Switched my Ptolemaic cav over to cavalry and I didn't even notice. It's actually kind of a cool change. I like that he did that. I'm always ragging on Blade Master, but you gotta like the guy. He runs a good channel. There's a lot of people running good YouTube channels, but yeah, Blade Master is certainly one of them. Here comes my Galatian infantry. They're getting into a Thuriel spear, and over here destroying a hillman, and then pretty much the same thing happened on the other flank. So early on, I take a pretty big kill advantage on the flanks, and I decided to kind of sit back. I thought I was doing pretty decent in the skirmish fight, and I kind of was, but it starts to turn around a little bit. I made a key error here. So one thing to know about Blade Balance 2.0 is that some archers, certain ones, like these Nubian bows, have 175 range, and notice that there's just a slight hill advantage here. As I move forward, I should have left my archers way back here and forced his slingers to have to come closer to the fight, and eventually I could pull them to where they don't have range, and my Nubian bows could have fired at them with impunity because they couldn't have gotten past my line, and that would have been the best scenario for me. That would have forced his Ozat Knights to try and do something, which means I could have fought with support, all the while basically just ignoring this fight in the center, which will eventually go his way because his pikes are better than mine, but still not that big of a deal. This fight will go very slowly and take forever. You can see they're just taking turns like playing some Russian roulette, stabbing there with the pikes. Spin the bottle, see who gets poked next, that kind of thing. Anyway, yeah, so the fight is developing a little bit slow on the flanks, but I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at. Check out this Thuriel spears here. I didn't even pay attention to that. Throwing over my guys. I'm going to go ahead and charge him with my Galatian royal guard and put these guys out of commission. He's going to go into square, which is a nice delaying tactic. And I pull my general out here to support against the Ozit Knights because we're definitely going to need it. And I'm going to try and tear up this Hillman real quick. It shouldn't take long, but that Hillman is running point for his Royal Peltist. That Royal Peltist is a pretty juicy target for my general, but I didn't get to him. And here I just barely get a countercharge with my general, but I get caught on the hoof with both my Egyptian cavalry. Fortunately, though, for my general, I did get the charge, and he's going to get a few kills, even though that's an Ozit Knight. And here I'm going to pull these Galatian Royal Guardsmen loose and come into the back of this fight. If I can kill these Ozit Knights, it's going to make a huge difference in the outcome of the battle. So it's very, very critical here that we get to the back of these Ozit Knights. Got to kill these guys. We want to win this one. My opponent does have some slingers that have come back from routing, and at this point I wasn't ignoring them. I was still killing this unit here. And I've got this Nubian bowman, but bows don't have as much ammo as slingers, and that's another one of their downfalls and why I should have fought from this higher ground earlier to take those guys out sooner, because now if these guys get left to late game, so now if I can't take these guys out with my cavalry, I'm in big trouble. And there's a problem with me trying to take him out. He's got these Ozit Knights here. You see, these Ozit Knights, they're pretty darn good cavalry. And it's going to be difficult for me to get through them to get to his Eastern Slingers at this point. So it's definitely something I'm concerned about. And over here, though, I've managed to kill the vast majority of his Ozit Knights. He does have a Royal Peltist here, and what I need to do, though, is immediately charge it and just leave the Ozit Knights because they're going to get away anyway. But I do not, and this is a key mistake. You can see his Royal Peltist trying to charge uphill. Had I turned and gone downhill on a charge here, I would have destroyed the Royal Peltist on the charge. It is only, well, no, it's a very heavy infantry. Looks like Blade changed it back. That's a good thing. But yeah, it gets a charge here, and I could have crushed it pretty badly on the charge. And my Royal Guardsmen would have won that fight, but now definitely not going to happen. So I'm going to bring my general down and try and get a rear charge here so that I can kill the enemy general, and that would help swing this fight in my favor as well. Though, to be honest, with his cavalry engaged, probably a better choice would have just been to come over here and kill all of his slingers, because his cavalry over here is engaged, and it would have given me a golden opportunity. So this is a golden opportunity missed. Yes, his Royal Peltist is a juicy, juicy target, and again, probably could have just done a hit and then run and get the slingers, because again, his cavalry over here is engaged and his slingers are vulnerable. So definitely a strategic error on my part to not just hit these Royal Peltist and immediately flee and get his slingers. I think I was busy trying to micro something elsewhere, but you've got to recognize these key points in the heat of battle. That's something that I am not the best at. My situational awareness, as you all know from my campaign videos and others, is not great. So this is definitely a lost opportunity. Juicy blob of slingers. They do have this Ozit Knight to protect them, though, you know, again, had I gotten there sooner, the slingers would have been dead, and I could have continued to chase with the Egyptian cavalry and killed them too, thus swinging the battle in my favor. Instead, I'm back here wasting time on this Ozit Knight, which isn't going to really play a critical role in the battle. Good thing I'm killing it, but again, not super critical. My Galatian Royal Guard is in Shield Wall now and will last a long time, but the Royal Peltist now have Shield Wall as well, so they will also last a long time in this fight. He's using some second wind to give them their, oh, what do you call it, their stamina back. So yeah, my general is actually going to die back here, so this is pretty bad. Some of my units start to rout. I still do have this Galatian Royal Guardsman, and I'm going to do my best to start killing these pikemen. I am taking a little bit of sling fire, but fortunately for me, it's somewhat scattered and weak because his slingers are a little bit blobbed up. I noticed this during the battle, and I knew that was going to work to my favor, so I didn't start chasing them because there was an Ozat Knight to support, and I couldn't catch them anyway, so I decided that maybe I can kill his pikes and free enough of my infantry. The problem is these guys are very tired, soon to be exhausted, and they're running low on support. These units need to get over here and help. Yeah, it's a fairly close fight at this point. This Royal Peltist is a problem. It tanked through my Galatian Royal Guard due to my failure to get a charge, even though I had the terrain height advantage there. So that was a big failure on my part. And again, I failed to get a charge here with a unit that had the height advantage, so this Royal Peltist is getting far more bang for its buck than it normally would. Though don't get me wrong, the Royal Peltist is a decent unit if used properly. Not to mention one of the coolest looking units in Rome too, by far. So definitely a sweet unit. Yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on. The pike fight's kind of slowly wrapping up. Like I said, these guys are just allowing themselves to be poked one by one on the end of this engagement. It's a very odd engagement between pikes. Which one of you is next? One of y'all is about to get poked. Yep, there you go. So weird. Anyway, I'm going to keep using my Galatian Guard. Unfortunately, they're going to get interrupted in their attempt to get rid of more pikes by a charge from these Ozit Knights, which will be severe. I need to, I should have been over here trying to get these units to guard the back of my Galatian Royal Guard, so again, another mistake on my part there. I wasn't quite quick enough to react. I do turn around and try and shield wall to brace a little bit for this impact, but I'm probably not going to get any good bracing here. As you can see, the cavalry tears through my ranks fairly easy. Very beautiful looking scenery here, by the way, too. Need some angelic singing in the background to really set the tone here. I like the sling stones, like hitting the ground and rolling around back here too. Nice blood splatters too. This game's looking very nice on my laptop, really. Rome 2 runs exceptionally well on this laptop. It runs very good on my desktop as well. I have it on extreme settings, and I think I get like 75 frames a second out of it, as opposed to Attila that I have to put on quality settings, and I get 60 if I'm lucky. That game, the optimization, folks, that optimization, as in it's not good. But Rome 2, on the other hand, runs it very well. And my laptop runs it very well, too. I think I just set everything to very high, but turned the anti-aliasing on or something like that. So that's all I have it set to. I'm not really pushing my machine here, but I was getting very good FPS and wanted to be able to record very smooth, so that's why I left the settings here. And the game still looks pretty good. I do catch his Ozit Knights here. It's really too bad my Levithuriel Spears don't have rapid advance or something, because I would have been able to keep up and kill his Ozit Knights, and I was like, yes, I got them. I might be able to win this battle, but no. They disengage. They start to waver, but they do not rout. I do not have any javelins, and I can't catch these guys. At this point, though, chasing them doesn't do a lot of good, because eventually he can get some distance, turn around, and kill my men. So I kind of have to stop chasing, but that's going to be a problem. His slingers are certainly going to be a problem. I can chase them, but I really don't have anything to catch them. So I was kind of torn right now, you know, do I just go ahead and start chasing his slingers? I mean, his general's going to die. Pikemen, I figured they might actually rout here in a second, but they decide to go ahead and live, which was frustrating. I started clicking attack orders here, hoping it would help me kill his pikes, but I think it just ends up getting my guys killed quicker because they are lower quality than his pikes. So yeah, probably should have just been more defensive. Anyway, he's able to turn his pikes towards my Galatian Royal Guards, who are exhausted. They're going to be less than effective in the late game, and I'm forced to chase his slingers with something, which is just going to create bait for his Ozit Knights. And at this point, the writing's pretty much on the wall for me. It was a pretty close fight, but it was still going to flip in favor of my opponent. So he was able to keep those slingers alive to late game. That was a critical error for me. Now, one thing Blade Master did with certain archers is he gave them 175 range. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. If I did, then you get to hear me repeat it. But I had slight high ground here where my archers could have skirmished from, and I should have kept them back from the battle, and as the slingers came forward to try and engage them, just keep pulling back. Because eventually they would get stuck on my line and not be able to engage my longer range archers, so I squandered my longer range. And I also squandered a bit of a height advantage there. Had I used that more properly, I could have created a more difficult game. The other thing that I did wrong was when my general had the chance to kill all his skirmishers, I did not take it. I didn't notice that in the heat of that battle there that my guys were going to end up being in so much late game danger from those slingers. I had kind of written them off because I knew I had, you know, killed quite a few of them, but do not write off slingers in the late game. It's actually one of the times in which they excel. Most units have lost a lot of hit points by that time, so slingers end up being a lot more effective, even though in the early game they tend to do less damage because of their lower base damage stats, but their higher armor piercing in the late game becomes pretty deadly. So it was an interesting battle. Definitely appreciate Baelhamon playing that with me. It was a lot of fun. Just to kind of call out some of the key units here in terms of success. This Galatian sword and this one here both getting a ton of kills. This one picking up a triple chevron, so don't let the kills lie to you. That one did something important. Both of my Galatian Royal Guard getting double chevrons, so nice work there. Nothing really from my cavalry, which was a bit of a problem. But if you look at his side, his general ended up doing a good job because I was never able to get a good charge on it, and he managed to clean up some kills with his pikes. Now, granted, some of his kills with his pikes were against my other pikes, but still, I mean, getting kills with your pikes is certainly more useful than not getting any kills. And again, in the late game, look at the damage the slinger was able to do. So these guys kind of got shot up a little bit by my bows, and again, just imagine had I used that range to my advantage and that terrain. Had I done that, could have been a different story, but it was not a different story. So once again, GG to Zeal Baelhamon. Had fun playing with them, and I will be back with more Rome 2 online battles soon. See you then.